You know, it's great to be here with all of you, it really is. And it's also great to share the stage today with a doctor. Joined the Navy, worked in naval hospitals during the Gulf War, came home to Altoona, practiced medicine for 25 years, and then he felt the call to public service. And I can tell you, he has emerged as one of the strongest allies of President Trump and our agenda on Capitol Hill. Would you all join me in thanking Congressman and Dr. John Joyce? Thank you, Doc. What a great leader. You know, I know you all are out here the day before Election Day. Same reason we are. Talk about what we've done. Talk about the choice that we face. One more day, 4 more years. But think about the progress. 4 years ago, we inherited a military that had been hollowed out by devastating budget cuts. An economy that was struggling to break out of the worst recovery since the Great Depression. It's true. Terrorism was on the rise around the world, and we witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values. But in 3 short years, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We secured our border, supported law enforcement, and stood for life and liberty and the Constitution of the United States. Especially true on the economy. You know, after Joe Biden tried to tax and spend and bail us back to a growing economy in 8 years, resulting in the slowest recovery in more than 80 years, President Donald Trump created the greatest economy in American history, and we're doing it again. I mean, how about those new GDP numbers, Pennsylvania? Man. I mean, the American economy grew by 33% in the 3rd quarter, shattering every previous record. The American comeback is on. And with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House, we're going to bring this economy all the way back, bigger and better than ever before. It's kind of like the president tweeted last week. He said it's the biggest and best economy growth in history, not even close. You know, and this great comeback is a testament. It's a testament to the character and the resilience and the work ethic of the American people. But it's also a tribute to a president and to our allies in the Congress, like John Joyce, who worked with us to create the greatest economy the world has ever seen. It's why it's amazing to think, here the day before Election Day, that Joe Biden, in the midst of a global pandemic, wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion. He wants to pass a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal that would crush American energy. But under President Donald Trump, we cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses. We rolled back more federal red tape than any administration in history. We fought for free and fair trade. We unleashed American energy. And in 3 short years, businesses large and small created 7 million good-paying jobs, including 200,000 jobs right here in the Commonwealth. You know, when Joe Biden was vice president, America actually lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. I heard the last president's back out on the campaign trail today down in Georgia. Remember what he had to say? Remember what he had to say 4 years ago? I mean, they lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs in the last president. Joe Biden basically said those jobs are never coming back. He said, what magic wand do you have? Well, we didn't need a magic wand. We just needed President Donald Trump in the White House. 500,000 manufacturing jobs created in just 3 years, including 17,000 right here in the Keystone State. And on the subject of trade, it's amazing to think when we took office, when this America First president stepped into the White House, half of our international trade deficit was with China. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China all along the way. I mean, literally. President Donald Trump stood up to China's steel dumping. We imposed tariffs on China's steel, and we said the era of economic surrender is over. And Joe Biden never lifted a finger to reform a trade agreement with Canada and Mexico that Democrats used to love to complain about. Remember that? I mean, I don't have to tell you out here in Latrobe, back where I'm from in Indiana. I mean, in the 25 years since NAFTA was signed into law, we saw thousands of factories literally shuttered and jobs shipped south of the border and overseas. I mean, after the election day in 2016, I went back to Indiana to start to pack my bags for Washington. And I heard that a company that had been in Indiana for 75 years was closing their factory and moving to Mexico. Now, for years, people like Joe Biden loved to complain about NAFTA, remember? But they never lifted a finger to fix it. But when the man who wrote the art of the deal got into the Oval Office, America got a way better deal. NAFTA is gone and the USMCA is here. You know, that came up in... You know, we had, I love you people too. Give yourselves a gloved round of applause, will you? What a hearty crowd this is. Am I right? You know, the topic of trade came up. I had a little vice presidential debate out in Salt Lake City a couple of weeks ago. And, thank you. And, you know, you all deserve to know in Pennsylvania, Joe Biden's running mate, Kamala Harris, was one of only 10 senators to vote against the USMCA, even though it was a huge win for Pennsylvania workers and farmers. And Kamala Harris said it didn't go far enough on climate change. And Joe Biden's running mate put her radical environmental agenda ahead of Pennsylvania jobs and Pennsylvania farmers. But I promise you, with 4 more years of President Donald Trump on international trade, we will always put American jobs and American workers first. And on energy, so important to Pennsylvania, jobs in this state, our economic vitality. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to crush American energy under a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal. It would raise the cost of electricity for every home and every business in America. Last year, Joe Biden even told a group of coal miners that they should learn to code if he became president. And President Donald Trump, we have stood for an all-of-the-above energy strategy. The war on coal is over, and we're now a net exporter of energy for the first time in 70 years. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they might be saying something different these days, but the truth is both of them spent most of the last year talking about how they want to ban fracking and abolish fossil fuels. I mean, banning fracking would destroy hundreds of thousands of jobs in Pennsylvania alone. They said they were going to do it over and over and over again until he showed up in Pittsburgh a few weeks back. He said the president wasn't telling the truth. I mean, literally, he said our president was lying about his record. And then in a presidential debate a little while back, and how good did President Trump do in that presidential debate? Am I right? Wasn't that great? Anyway, you get to the end of that debate, and Joe Biden says we're going to transition from the oil industry. I love what the president said. He said, that's a big statement. Now, Joe's back to denying it. In fact, at the moment, he said he wasn't going to ban fracking. He said, show the tape. So we've been showing the tape. Hit it.
I never said I oppose fracking.
You said tape.
I did show the tape. Put it on your website. Put it on the website.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated. I guarantee we're going to need fossil fuel No new fracking.
I'd gradually move away from fracking.
And I think it's critically important on day one that we end any fossil fuel leases on public lands.
All they would about say stopping fracking, stopping pipeline infrastructure, and
So they want to do the same thing I want to do. They want to phase out fossil fuels, and we're going to phase out fossil fuels.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
I have one final
Would he close down the oil industry? Would you close down the oil industry? We're transition from the oil industry, yes. Oh, the transition. That is the biggest, in terms of business, that's the biggest thing. Because basically what he's saying is he is going to destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you remember that, Pennsylvania?
Would you remember that, Pennsylvania? Men and women, I got to tell you, no matter what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are saying right now, you can take it to the bank. Joe Biden and the radical left are going to try to abolish fossil fuels, close down the oil industry, and ban fracking if they win this election. That's why we're not going to let it happen. We're going to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. We're going to have more fracking, more American energy, and energy independence for generations to come. You know, you see the choice in this election. It's no surprise. You all heard about it yesterday. For the first time in 50 years, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is endorsing a Republican for president. They're endorsing President Donald Trump for 4 more years. Wow. You know, the truth is we have a choice to make. Pennsylvania always plays an outsized role in presidential politics. I mean, it's going to be a choice between a Trump boom and a Biden depression. I mean, really, there was a study that came out about a week ago that said that under Joe Biden's economic policies, America would lose 5 million jobs, and the average household income would drop by $6,500 a year. So, in all that remains between right now and when the polls close tomorrow, I got a question I want you to ask anybody that hasn't made a decision yet. Okay? You can say, I was standing out in the cold. Mike and Karen Pence showed up. And he said, if you haven't made a decision yet, I only got one thing to ask you. Seriously, just look them right in the eye, somebody you know. I mean, a brother or sister, an aunt, uncle, neighbor, coworker. Just ask them, say, who do you really think can bring this economy all the way back? I mean, who do you really think, as America's just starting to get back on our feet again, who do you really think can make this economy bigger and better than ever before? A career politician who served 47 years in Washington, raising taxes, growing government, waving the white flag of economic surrender on trade, or a proven job creator who's overseeing the fastest economic recovery in American history? I mean, I'm just telling you, you ask them that question and they're going to, if they're honest with you, they're going to have to go, you know what, you're right. So it's about our prosperity. But you all know security is the foundation of our prosperity. And here in this great patriotic state, you all deserve to know that when Joe Biden was vice president, we saw years of reckless budget cuts in our military that hollowed out our readiness. And over the last few days, Democrats in Washington have been speaking openly about their plan to pass massive cuts to defense spending to pay for their big government programs. You may not know it, but the Pences are a military family. And we're proud of it. My son's a United States Marine. And my son-in-law is a Navy pilot, currently deployed overseas. But more important than that, His Navy spouse, our wonderful daughter, Charlotte Pence Bond, is with us today. Would you give her a big round of applause? She's an amazing young woman. We're so proud of her. And I'm proud to report to you, as your Vice President and as the father and father-in-law, two service members and their families. Under President Donald Trump, we passed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We are finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and the support that they need to defend this nation. And with that renewed American strength, we've stood with our allies as never before. And the great news is, today our allies are contributing more to our common defense than ever before. You know, after 4 previous presidents promised to do it, it was President Donald Trump who kept his word and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. And for the first time in 25 years, 3 Arab nations have recognized Israel's right to exist. I mean, we've been putting America first, standing by our allies. That's why it's such a privilege on this day before Election Day to be with one of the strongest voices in our administration for our America First policy on the world stage. He was our ambassador to Germany and helped lead the charge to get our allies in Europe to do more. He served on our cabinet as the acting director of national intelligence. He's made America safer and stronger all along the way. Would you join me in thanking Ambassador Rick Grinnell for his extraordinary service to America? Tremendous guy. So we stood with our allies, but with that renewed strength, we've also stood up to our enemies. Last year, American forces at President Trump's direction captured the last inch of territory controlled by the ISIS caliphate, took down their leader without one American casualty, and the Iranian General Qasem Soleimani is gone. You also might have heard on Friday night, in a daring raid, U.S. Special Forces rescued an American taken captive in Niger. And as the Pentagon announced Saturday, that American is home safe and no U.S. personnel were injured in the operation. You know, the armed forces of the United States are the greatest force for good in the history of the world. And we're going to make the strongest military in the world stronger still with 4 more years. It's been about standing with our military and their families. It's also about standing with you who wore the uniform. You know, when Joe Biden was vice president, America saw years of scandal that shocked the conscience of our nation at the VA. You all remember, we literally had veterans that were dying on waiting lists to get care at local VA hospitals. But under President Donald Trump, those days are over. We passed the most sweeping reform of the VA in 50 years. And Veterans Choice is now available for every veteran in America. So support for our military, support for our veterans. It's one more reason why we need Pennsylvania to send a decorated combat veteran, a man who loves this country and will fight to keep America safe, to the Congress of the United States. With John Joyce, we need to send Sean Parnell to Washington, D.C. So it's been about standing for a safe America and standing with those who defended our country. But under President Donald Trump, it's also been about standing for law and order. And we have stood every day with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement, and we always will. You know, the President and I know what you know. Men and women who serve in law enforcement are some of the best people in this country. And they deserve the respect of every American every day. I want you to give a round of applause to the law enforcement officers who are with us here today. They are incredible work. Now, the President and I will always support the right of Americans to peaceful protest, but rioting and looting like you saw again in Philadelphia, it's not peaceful protest. Burning businesses is not free speech. Those who do these things, who do violence against our citizens or property or law enforcement will not be tolerated, and they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of law. Now, for years, or for months earlier this year, as we saw cities across the country burning, all Joe Biden ever talked about was peaceful protest, remember? I mean, Joe Biden has said that America is systemically racist. And he and Kamala Harris have both said again and again that they believe police officers in this country have an implicit bias against minorities. When Joe Biden was asked to cut funding to law enforcement, he said, yes, absolutely. And Kamala Harris recently praised the mayor of Los Angeles for cutting $150 million out of the LAPD's budget. But let me make you a promise. With 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House, we're going to back the blue. We're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever. And we're going to have law and order in every city, in every state, in this nation, for every American of every race and creed and color. So it's been about standing for law and order with those who protect and serve. It's also been about strengthening the rule of law. As I stand here today, because of the support of the people of Pennsylvania, I'm proud to report we've already seen more than 220 principled conservatives appointed to our federal courts at every level. And they are all men and women who will uphold the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. 220 judges, and that includes Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Isn't she something? And I don't say that just because she's from Indiana. But you know, it really has been about, it's been about appointing men and women who will uphold all of our liberties, to stand for the values that make Pennsylvania and America great. And I have to tell you, as I stand here today, I couldn't be more proud to serve alongside a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Joe Biden and President Trump. President Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. You know, I truly do believe, and I think you know, standing out here shivering in the cold, the choice in this election has never been clearer. The stakes have never been higher. Men and women, we face a choice in this election. And I think it's not going to be so much whether America is more Republican or more Democrat, more liberal or more conservative, more red or more blue. I think the choice in this election is whether America remains America. It's whether we're going to chart a course for our children and our grandchildren. It's built on our American heritage of faith and freedom and patriotism and all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution. Or whether we're going to let Joe Biden and the Democratic Party surrender our country to the radical left, shut down our economy, and topple our heritage of freedom. I truly do believe that's a choice. Just make no mistake about it. We've been through a challenging year. I mean, for all the progress we made in those first 3 years, rebuilding our military, reviving our economy, strengthening the foundation of our core. Then 2020 arrived, and the coronavirus struck from China. But all along the way, the people of Pennsylvania have seen this president's leadership writ large. Before the first case of community spread struck anywhere in America, President Trump did what no American president had ever done. He shut down all travel from China. He put the health of America first. Now, Joe Biden called that xenophobic. Essentially said it was racist. He said that shutting down travel during a global pandemic would actually make things worse. But Joe Biden got it wrong. President Donald Trump got it right. I mean, President Trump's action, shutting down travel from China, bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II and saved untold American lives. We reinvented testing. We sought in the manufacture and distribution of billions of supplies. And the President secured support with the support of Congressman John Joyce. Direct payments to families across this state and nation, support for small businesses, a paycheck protection program that saved 50 million American jobs. It's true. And I want to promise you, as we're every day, one day closer to having a safe vaccine, we believe we'll have a safe vaccine for the coronavirus before the end of this year with tens of millions of doses. But I promise you, we're going to continue to make sure that every American family and every community has the resources and supplies for our doctors and nurses to give anyone the level of care they need. We're going to work every day to get that vaccine, to put this pandemic in the past. And we're going to open up America again, and we're going to keep America open. You know, you all deserve to know, just at a time that America's coming back, 11.5 million Americans have already gone back to work in the last 5 months. 600,000 people have gone back to work right here in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden's actually talking about shutting down the economy. Another one of his surrogates on TV over the weekend said, everything's on the table. Well, let me tell you something. President Donald Trump and I are going to keep opening up America again. We're going to have a vaccine. We're going to defeat the virus and bring America back bigger and better than ever before. I mean, it really is a choice that we face. It's a choice between a future built on our highest ideals and built on a president that believes in the boundless capacity of the American people to overcome any challenge. And Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, driven by the radical left, will take our nation somewhere it's never been before. And Joe Biden says that we're in for a long, dark winter. But under President Donald Trump, we know the best days are yet to come. So men and women, I got 3 things to ask you to do, and then I'm going to let you get in from the cold. And give yourselves another round of applause. I got to tell you, this is the heartiest bunch. You all are awesome. But first and foremost, before the polls close tomorrow, if you haven't done so already, we need you to vote, Pennsylvania. Vote to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. I actually checked on the way here. You can actually drop off your ballot if you haven't before the day is over, and then go work the polls tomorrow. If you don't know where, you can go to Westmoreland County Election Bureau, 2 North Main Street, Suite 109 in Greensburg. And remember, Friends don't let friends vote alone. Bring a family member, bring a neighbor, bring a coworker, and vote to re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. Secondly, after you vote with a friend, either drop it off today or vote tomorrow. I want you to tell somebody why you came out here and stood in the cold. I can see that resilience in your face. Well, we love you. Well, I know why you're out here today. Karen and I are humbled by your support. But you know what? I don't know if you saw it, the President and I were on 60 Minutes about a week ago. It wasn't exactly a friendly interview. But are they ever? I don't even know what that is. Anyway, there was a moment in that interview that I'll never forget. The reporter looks at President Trump and says, "How would you describe your supporters?" And without any hesitation, the President said something I'll never forget. She said, "How would you describe your supporters?" And he looked at her and leaned forward and said, "They are people who love our country." So go tell your neighbors and friends you are here because you love America, and we need 4 more years of a president who loves our country as well. I'm telling you. And finally, in these challenging times where it seems like if you watch television or see the polls, it seems like there's more that divides us than ever before in my lifetime. I have to tell you, having traveled all across this country over the last 4 years, as Karen and I have, I'm more convinced than ever that this is a freedom-loving country. And I'm more convinced than ever that this is a nation of faith. I truly believe it. I mean, everywhere the President and I go, there's not a day going by that somebody doesn't say to me or say to my wife, "I'm praying for you." Sweetest words we ever hear. And so I want to say to all of you here who are inclined to bow the head and bend the knee from time to time, next day and a half is a good time to do that too. And when you pray, pray with confidence. Karen and I just read that verse in our devotions this morning, that we should approach the throne of grace with confidence. But we claim those ancient words that Americans have clung to in much more challenging times. That if his people, who are called by his name, will humble themselves and pray, that he'll do like he's always done in the long and storied history of this country. He'll hear from heaven, and he'll heal this land. This one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America. Pray for all the American people. It'll make a difference, I promise you. And I leave here today, I gotta run up to Erie. And then I am meeting up with President Trump in the state of Michigan tonight. We're going to bring it on. But I'm going to tell him I just saw all of you good people here in Latrobe, and I want to thank you for coming out. I know it would mean a lot to him as well. But men and women, the time for speeches is over. The time for voting is on. So I want you to leave here today. Drop that ballot off or just make plans to be out tomorrow. And spend every free moment that you have reaching out to neighbors and friends and talk about what you heard today. Talk about the progress that we made in these first 3 years. Talk about the way this president has led through one of the most challenging years of our lives. Talk about the choice that we face between a future of freedom and a hard turn to the left. Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. And talk to the people of Pennsylvania about the role that people in this state are going to play in setting the course of our nation. Not just in this election, but in this generation. But I leave here today with renewed confidence that if all of us do all we need to do in every hour that remains between now and the close of polls here in the Keystone State, we're going to have a great victory. All across Pennsylvania and all across America. And I promise you, with Congressman John Joyce and Sean Parnell in a new Republican majority, with President Donald Trump back in the White House for 4 more years, and with God's help, we're going to make Pennsylvania and America stronger than ever before. We're going to make Pennsylvania and America safer than ever before. We're going to make this state and this nation more united than ever before. And together, we will make America great again. Again. Thank you all very much. God bless you.